you said that you didn't associate with crazy people. This is what you said. And I ask you, what is your definition of crazy?
I made it
See,
clear
this
that
is
I
what
was
happened. This is
not
what really
serious at
happened.
the
You see,
time.
Scarlett? But you are already, I'm sorry, Chum, you're already, skewing and bending reality to fit this narrative, which I don't know where you get from. But this is absurd, dude. This is ridiculous. Your delusion is very hilarious. I mean, it is hilarious the way you invent shit and you assume a lot of other shit. No, delusional. Well, when a person's view of reality is so fucking separated from it that it creates its own reality in their mind. This is Scarlett's problem.
Holy
Delusion.
shit! I created an entire
Yes,
universe?
you are not reflecting reality at all. I'm sorry, what, Chum? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But if a person's view of reality actually reflects it in some way, I mean, close enough, then that's fine, dude. I mean, everyone can disagree on their interpretation
His
of it.
argument
But
is
whenever
he
you create
remembers
an
things that I don't remember, therefore he's
alternate
delusional.
alternate reality, and you refer to things that didn't happen, and you create this rationalization in your mind, and you're convinced of it, then yeah, man, you're delusional.
I'm sorry that I remember things that you don't remember. As you've actually brought up to me, you've remembered things that I didn't remember. And I was willing to accept that.
Oh
You
yeah,
should do the
but
same.
I'm very objective when it comes to perceiving reality and remembering what
False.
happened. No, because whenever you're referring to no, no, but listen. Whenever you don't interpret the object and you refer just to the attributes of the object, then you're being objective. And that's it. Yes. To the attributes of the object. Yes. No, 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 no. No, no, because you're not basing. No, because you're not using your preference to do that. You're just interpreting the attributes of the object. Yes, it does. Subjectiveness has to do with preferences, wishes, experience, desires, and whatnot. Whenever you're
No, no, it
referring
doesn't.
to
No, it doesn't.
reality,
No, it doesn't.
oh, yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Oh, yes, it does. Now, even
Subjective
if
means
a
dependent on the
subject,
mind.
a subject, a person can be objective if that person is referring to reality and if that person is referring to the attributes of reality, not its interpretation based on their preferences, but the interpretations. I'm sorry, but the reflection of the attributes of the object. That's it. No, no, that's incorrect. If you say the table, listen, the table is nice. The table is a nice table, or is a big table, or is a cheap table. That is interpreting that table through their preferences and through your subjective interpretation of it. But whenever you're saying that table is red, or it measures like 10 for x or whatever, you're referring to the attributes of the object.
Tasteless, you're
It
talking
doesn't matter
over
that
him and
it
not
is
listening
you.
to what he's saying like you were
No,
accusing me of doing. Tasteless, stop it.
Scarlett, shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter as long as you're referring to the attributes of the object. You're being objective. That is irrelevant. That is irrelevant. Hey, objective. Hey. No, no. Oh, charm, little charm. You seem to think that whenever you're saying objective, that means it's true. Listen, chum. Listen. No one is saying that. Well, that is a mistake. That is a mistake, dude. So yes, it is a mistake. Oh, so you're saying that objective necessarily means true? Is that what you're saying? Oh, really? Oh, really? Nice. Okay, so you better prove that. Oh, really? So
I agree
that
with
doesn't
this.
mean it's true. I mean, it is true what? No, 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 not at all. You're basically wrong. You're basically wrong. So let me ask you something, Big Chum. So let me ask you something. Ooh. So let me ask you something, Big Chum.
What if we
Whenever
know
you're
somebody?
saying that whatever you're perceiving is dependent on the mind, and whatever your measurements are, then you couldn't be objective at all, could you? And how do you know that that's true? If you cannot, you don't have any access, to reality. You're basically using your brain, your interpretation to access this reality. How then you conclude that it is true?
You don't. Every interp-
Ah,
every interpretation.
No one does.
ah,
Tasteless, you don't either.
oh, fuck.
Tasteless, you don't either. Tasteless, you
Oh,
don't either. You
fuck.
can't
So
know.
objective doesn't mean it's true. Right. Right, right, right. Oh, right, right, right. So you couldn't be
What?
objective because objective necessarily means true. Ah. So no one can be objective. Ah. That's a great understanding.
Tasteless, you're using a different
That's a great
definition than he
understanding.
is using.
That's a great understanding about
It's
that fucking word.
it's such a
And you use
we're
that
talking
definition to
about
understand the world, huh? Well, nice, nice. I mean, no wonder you're having this much
tasteless.
problem
Words have more
understanding
than
reality.
one definition.
It is fucking hilarious. This is why,
No,
whenever you're conceiving reality with these flawed interpretations, you get the flawed results you get, Sean. So, no, man,
No, the fucking
the reality
definition
is,
changes
the reality
depending on the
is
context.
that
The context is
objectivity
important.
refers to the attributes of the object. As long as you refer to the attributes of the object, you're being objective. It doesn't mean that they are true. It only means that that is, referring to the attributes of the object. If those attributes, if those, of course. Hmm. Hmm. No, 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 no. You're only doing that if you let your preferences, your wishes, your desires, your experience interpret that thing. So whenever you're doing that, you are being subjective, big chummy. Yes, yes, it
Yeah,
is.
no one's
So,
talking about preferences here.
yes, no one is talking because you're retards. Now, this interpretation is just basically useful. It lets us know where we can stand about interpretation of the
The
world.
one who's talking because you're
And
a retard.
whenever we are referring to objectivity, we're referring to the attributes of the object without the preferences of the subject. Now, Now, whenever you refer to the conversation we're having, and you're factual, like you say, you said this and I said that, then you're being objective. Whenever you say, I don't like it, or you are, upset because of what I said, then you're letting your subjective. However, of course, of course, of course. Of course. However, when you say, well, this happened, and you provide your interpretation of what happened, and that interpretation do not correlate with actually what actually happened, then you're letting your fucking subjective interpretation of what happened, whether you thought you were correct, you thought that the person said something he didn't. You're using your subjective, or the subjective attributes you possess to interpret reality. Therefore, reality is skewed and it is bent according to your preferences, which is wrong. And this is what Scarlett does on a daily basis.
Can you prove that your definition is used by people? Because he doesn't seem to believe that this definition exists, which is weird.
I don't know. Listen, Scarlett. Knowing a definition is one thing, and understanding a definition is another thing. Now, and when a
Yes.
definition is problematic, such as mine independent, it is ridiculous because it is problematic when you are using and utilizing this
Both me and Big
understanding
Time
to
are
explain
using the
reality.
same
Then you will know that
definitions.
you'll get problems. You will
I
confront
explained it poorly, I
problems.
will admit,
And these
but
problems are not solvable under your fucking model, which is why you need to
what?
revise that your understanding about this shit is
No,
wrong and it is
I
flawed.
just don't.
So never mind that a guy said it on the internet.
Just because
It
I
doesn't
wasn't
matter.
solving that problem
You agree with
with
that
that
because
particular
you're a lame fuck who doesn't understand what the
part
fuck
of
is
my
going
model
on.
doesn't
You want to
mean
keep
that
hearing yourself
no
talk,
part.
Tasteless?
That's just I'm sorry. What model?
Maybe if you were
That-
listening, you'd know what model we're talking about.
No. I know what I'm saying. I know that you don't know what I'm saying. So that's why I ask you what model. No. I know, but you don't know. But you don't know, do you? Oh, so then ask me what model am I referring to? No, you didn't said that. You were saying and making assumptions about the model. You were making
Yeah, he
assumptions
did.
about the model.
He did just ask you twice.
I think I heard that too.
I think you're making things up now because other people seem to agree
No.
things happened and you keep denying.
No, he was making
No, you keep
assertions about a
denying
model.
things
He
happened.
doesn't know what model I'm referring to. He didn't say. He said. No.
What's the
Well,
claim? What's the claim that's being debated? Oh.
this is faggotry.
Poor woman.
You know, the little girl, the inner girl that Big Chum possesses is, acting out.
Okay, sure. What's your what?
Juker, please.
Tasteless, what's your
please
claim?
set order here. I'm gonna give you my dick. Does that work? Dude, can I give you my dick? Is that good enough? Big Sean, is my dick good enough for you? Yes or no? Yes or no? That is a yes or no answer. Is my dick good enough for you? Yes or no? Big Chum. No. Yes or no? Just answer the question. It's just very simple. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know this.
He's being subjective.
Is my dick good enough for you?
So, did you know, Tasteless,
Yes or no?
that you don't know with absolute certainty that your dick exists?
Oh, Scarlett, we're not on the same fucking reality, dude. You
That
is
literally
you.
can't. No,
That is
no,
you.
no.
Scarlett,
Share your
Literally.
experience with me.
As long as you don't cut it off, it still exists.
Holy fucking shit,
But
Scarlett, that was
you
funny.
have to perceive that through your subjective perspective.
I understand, Scarlett.
Technically, you could be hallucinating.
Yeah, sure. That might be a possibility.
The fact that you're laughing incredulously at that,
Yeah, like I said, dude, you didn't answer my question. Why would I answer your questions?
wow.
Oh, because you want to defend yourself at this point? Because you're getting
I don't want to defend myself.
destroyed
Are you joking? I don't have anything to defend, dude. I mean, the things that I'm defending, they defend themselves.
what he's saying. He's lost
Because I am
everything.
defending
They do.
reality.
They are
He's
not
incapable
defending
of
I am
defending
defending
himself anymore.
truth, and I am defending reality.
I
Reality
just
defends
made
itself.
claims.
Take the
I
L,
don't have
Tasteless.
to defend them.
So, no, yeah. So you were saying, Big Chum, are you going to respond or not? Then this conversation is over. I'm sorry, man. You haven't demonstrated. You haven't demonstrated whether my dick is sufficient to you or not. You haven't demonstrated that you don't like my dick in your ass. You need to demonstrate that. Okay, that's first of all. Unless you can prove that, listen. Unless
You're
you
the
can prove
one
that,
getting
we will
fucking
be
tasteless.
continuing this conversation. Okay, now this is getting lame. I'm gonna get some coffee, dude. This is getting so lame that some
He's got to get right away.
the bigger
He just got
man,
roasted.
the bigger man has
see you
to
in
stop.
15 minutes,
That's-
buddy.
The bigger man runs away.
Yeah, see you in 10, Tasteless.
Tasteless out here kicking ass and taking names.
I sincerely apologize to all the people that do not like listening to Tasteless Spurg out.
Yeah, I'm really not understanding why
Yeah,
everybody would
it's your fault.
voluntarily talk to Tasteless.
John is correct here.
Well, the reason being is because Tasteless doesn't have a lot of recordings of Spurgouts. I mean, there's a few of them, but
was correct,
Nothing
but
to
then he
do with
criticized
the
me, and
fucking
then I asked
model,
him what his
right? You guys
criticism
keep
was, and he
going
didn't
to
have a
criticize
criticism.
His models. Whenever I'm talking and you start talking over me, you'll hear an echo. Just a fair warning.
that was actually a really good recap. It's a shame John talked over you.
John, why do you think?
Yeah, it was a 5-second recap.
Why do you think that Tasteless is the only one that understands that moral realism actually is true?
I don't think that.
You don't hold moral realism?
Oh fuck, he's gotta Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
does
do.
hold moral realism.
Pragmatically speaking, I mean, we've been over it.
Actually, you know what? If you admit to being able or having to Google it, I'm fine with that. It's kind of the first
Shut
step
up,
in
you fucking
bitch
idiot.
prime directive.
I'm convinced that John doesn't actually process these discussions the way that we do. I think what happens is like imagine
Oh, yeah, that is 100% correct. That's why
Imagine
it takes hours for you guys to, for example, whenever you talk to Danny, all you guys just take hours.
just
getting
mute him
nowhere.
real quick.
It takes me
It's,
like
it's
5
just
minutes
taking a second.
to get where you guys.
There we go. So, like, imagine that you're watching two people debate, and they're like on two different podiums, right? They're debating in English, but you don't speak English, right? So, what happens is you just listen to like how confident they sound, and you just look at their body language and just look how their posture is, and then you just come to a conclusion like, yeah, that guy is really owning that other guy, right? Because that guy looks timid and he like stuttered here or something like that, and maybe his voice cracked and he enunciates not as good as the other guy. And I think that's how John comes to his conclusions about who wrecked who.
I think I had pretty good enunciation. I thought it was pretty bad for fucking Tasteless, but that's just me and my flawed interpretation. You know what I'm saying?
Tom, did you conclude that from how he judged the debate that Tasteless was just having with Scarlet and Big Time?
No, this is just about John in general.
So you can. He's gone.
Yeah, I muted him and he immediately left because he wasn't able to talk over, which is a defense mechanism for other people like raping him verbally. So when he doesn't have that defense mechanism, his secondary defense mechanism is to just leave so he can't hear it. He's literally putting his fingers in his ears and saying la la la.
It's fight or flight. So him talking back is the fight, and when he can't talk back, then there's only the flight left.
Yeah.
Big Chum is correct here.
That's like really primitive for a person.
For a human being to actually follow.
But John
Yeah,
is
in a
that kind of
non-violent
person, though.
Yeah.